In 1994, O.J. Simpson's life took a drastic change. Simpson was a once celebrated American football great who subsequently became famous in Hollywood. Simpson, who was charged with the savage killings of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend Ron Goldman, took center stage in a dramatic trial that captured the attention of the country. Before the killings, Simpson had made a successful career out of his athletic ability, with an estimated net worth of over $10.8 million in 1992. He also made the move into acting, which improved his financial situation even further. But his fortune was severely diminished by the subsequent court cases and his final conviction for armed robbery. His current net worth, according to several estimates, is about $3 million, a significant drop from his peak earnings. Even after Simpson was found not guilty during the criminal trial, he remained under suspicion. The jury in a different civil lawsuit determined that he was responsible for Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown's untimely deaths. The victim's estate was given a $33.5 million judgment, which came with a high price tag. Simpson was able to protect the majority of his earnings from creditors, although, despite his enormous debt, state rules preserved his royalties and pension, giving him a reliable source of income. The public's indignation was heightened by this legal ploy since it seemed Simpson may escape paying for the decision made by a civil jury. After his football career ended, O.J. Simpson, a gridiron hero known for his lightning-fast reflexes and trick plays, had a dramatic change of direction in his life. In 1994, the renowned running back, whose name was linked to speed and power on the field, was at the epicenter of a media frenzy. Simpson, charged with the savage killings of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend Ron Goldman, went through a dramatic trial that captured the attention of the country. Despite being cleared of the criminal charges, he was judged accountable for their unfortunate deaths by a civil jury, and they were awarded a substantial $33.5 million judgment. Simpson kept making news despite the legal haze. He was given a 9-year jail term in 2007 for an armed robbery and kidnapping that occurred in Las Vegas. His legacy in college football was etched before he electrified the NFL. O.J., who was dubbed the Juice for his deceptive running technique, terrified opponents while playing for the USC Trojans. His domination paid off in his senior year when he won the Heisman Trophy, the highest individual honor in college football. This astounding accomplishment elevated him to the top of the 1969 NFL Draft and solidified his reputation as a generational talent. His legacy in college football was etched before he electrified the NFL. O.J., who was dubbed the Juice for his deceptive running technique, terrified opponents while playing for the USC Trojans. His domination paid off in his senior year when he won the Heisman Trophy, the highest individual honor in college football. This astounding accomplishment elevated him to the top of the 1969 NFL Draft and solidified his reputation as a generational talent. He twice topped the rankings for running touchdowns, finished first in the league in rushing yards, and even won the scoring title in 1975. Not only was O.J. Simpson a player in Buffalo, but he was a force to be reckoned with, rewriting record books and leaving defenses clinging to crumbs. He broke the 2,000-yard mark and became the first rushing back in NFL history. This incredible accomplishment was made even more remarkable by the fact that he just played 14 games. It was more important to leave opponents in the dust game after the game than it was to merely accumulate yards. The NFL Most Valuable Player Award, the highest individual distinction in the league, was his to win after an incredible performance that solidified his status as a legend. However, O.J.'s influence extended beyond metrics and awards. By setting the record for the greatest single-season running average, a startling 143.1 yards per game, he further cemented his reputation in the annals of history. This demonstrated not simply his brute force but also his captivating agility and breakaway speed. He could change direction quickly, outpacing opponents along the sideline with an apparent ease that left tacklers gasping for breath. O.J. was more intelligent off the football field. Following a 1979 season with the San Francisco 49ers, he hung up his cleats and went on to have successful careers in acting and broadcasting, demonstrating that his talent and magnetism were not limited to the football field. His extraordinary contributions to the game were honored by the College Football Hall of Fame in 1983 and the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1985, solidifying his place in football history, childhood and schooling. O.J. Simpson's origins are in the colorful streets of San Francisco, California. He was raised by his strong-willed mother Eunice, who oversaw a nearby hospital, along with his brothers Melvin, Shirley, and the late Carmelita. Jimmy Lee, his father, had a double life in the city, working as a bank custodian and at the Federal Reserve in addition to being a well-known drag queen in the San Francisco Bay Area. Jimmy Lee tragically died of AIDS in 1986 after coming out as homosexual later in life. Even the name O.J. has a backstory. He was given the name Orenthal, which he wouldn't learn until a surprise teacher revealed it to him in the 3rd grade, after being inspired by a French actress his aunt liked. Everyone had known him as O.J. since birth. His early years weren't without difficulties, though. Due to complications from his childhood, Ricketts had to wear leg braces until he was 5 years old, which helped to shape his signature bow-legged posture. O.J. Simpson faced difficulties as a teenager growing up in the Potrero Hill area of San Francisco. He became engaged with a neighborhood street gang and was briefly detained. Despite obstacles, he was able to change his direction with the support of powerful people like baseball player Willie Mays. He showed early athletic ability by playing football for his high school. Individual life: a look back at O.J. Simpson's turbulent relationships. Like his football career, O.J. Simpson's love life has been complicated and well reported. A deeper look at his relationships and marriages is provided here. Whitley, Marguerite, 1967 to 1979. A brief young love story. At the young age of 19, O.J. tied the knot with Marguerite Whitley, his high school love. Arnell, Jason, and Aaron were welcomed into their tiny family. Tragedy struck in 1979 when their son Aaron perished at the terrible age of 2. The couple, who had already had challenges, ultimately filed for divorce in the same year. Nicole Brown, who lived from 1977 until 1995, a fairy tale destroyed by abuse after O.J. married Marguerite in 1977 and subsequently met Nicole Brown, his first marriage began to fail. They welcomed Jason, Aaron, and Arnell into their small family. Their son Aaron died tragically in 1979 at the dreadful age of 2. After facing difficulties, the couple finally filed for divorce in the same year. Nicole Brown was born in 1977 and passed away in 1995. Abuse destroys a fairy tale. O.J.'s first marriage broke down after he wed Marguerite in 1977 and later met Nicole Brown. After being divorced in 1992, they attempted a short reconciliation in 1993 before deciding to split up for good. Christy Prati, 1995 to 2008, a controversial later chapter in 1995, following his acquittal on murder charges, O.J. began dating Christy Prati. When Prati finally came out, it caused a stir because of their extreme age difference. She claimed to have been uneasy and even terrified during their 13-year relationship. Notwithstanding his high school antics, O.J. Simpson surmounted academic challenges to enroll in a prestigious 4-year university. In 1965, after making the decision not to join the military, he enrolled in City College of San Francisco. His pure talent leaped onto the stage at this moment. Along with being a star, he was a strong player on both offense and defense, taking home the coveted Junior College All-American running back title. Following his amazing performance, universities from all over the nation were vying for him as a transfer student. Spurred on by his early devotion to the team, O.J. eventually concentrated on playing his last 2 years of NCAA football at USC. John McKay, the head coach, closely oversaw O.J.'s assignment to the important running back position. This ended up being a football match that was meant to be. Simpson immediately established himself as a dominant force, breaking the national record for the most rushing yards in 1967 and 1968. He put up tremendous numbers every season that had fans yelling with excitement and defenders grasping for any glimmer of hope. Simpson came dangerously close to taking home the Heisman Trophy, college football's highest prize, in 1967, his junior year. However, Gary Bibin, the star quarterback for UCLA, took home the trophy in the end rather than their fierce rivals. This rivalry would only intensify as the season came to a close and the storied Victory Bell game approached. With the time winding down and USC down by what seemed like an insurmountable 6 points, tensions were high. Then O.J. Simpson had an explosive performance that will go down in college football annals forever. He wrenched himself away from the grip of helpless opponents, spreading a red and white cloud across the field. This was more than just a run, it was a defiant shout, a 64-yard sprint for victory. Simpson's touchdown not only tied the score but also cemented his place in history as a player who altered the course of games. The play itself proved to be more than simply a point-scoring opportunity, it became a classic moment in football history and demonstrated Simpson's natural talent and unwavering will. O.J. Simpson was an extremely gifted athlete even before his well-known 64-yard touchdown run in the 1967 Victory Bell game. The famous photo O.J. Simpson Breaks for Daylight by Arnold Freberg, which captures his performance, is proof of his effect. Aside from that one play, he had a lot of success during this period, being voted a unanimous All-American twice and receiving the Walter Camp Award. Simpson was a brilliant football player as well as a track and field athlete. Despite finally losing a race in the 100 meters, he held the world record in the 4x110-yard relay before attending USC. Simpson's dominance lasted into his senior year. He gained enormous yards and touchdowns, which won him the Heisman Trophy among other awards. He shattered the previous record for the Heisman victory margin with 1,750 points. Despite the outcome of the Rose Bowl being a loss, Simpson demonstrated his skill with an impressive score run of 80 yards. Professional football career. The Buffalo Bills were selected first overall in the 1969 NFL Common Draft, following a challenging 1968 year. O.J. Simpson, a much sought-after running back, was their selection. Simpson demanded a significant increase from the Bills' standard rookie deal, which made the contract negotiations challenging. After a temporary stalemate, Simpson started discussing publicly about wanting to be an actress. In the end, a settlement was achieved, which at the time marked a major advancement in professional football contracts. Though there was a lot of excitement around O.J. Simpson's NFL debut, his first few seasons weren't without setbacks. His 622 running yards per year average over his first 3 seasons prompted concerns about his effectiveness. The offensive scheme of head coach John Rauch, which valued balance highly, prevented Simpson from rushing the ball. Rather, he was usually in charge of blocking and receiving. 2 new head coaches took over after Rauch left, implementing offensive concepts that first struggled to use Simpson effectively. Simpson became the focal point of the offensive plan when Lou Spin became the head coach in 1972. This move was a turning point in Simpson's career. In 1972, O.J. Simpson reached a significant milestone when he became the first player in league history to surpass 1,000 rushing yards, 1,251 yards. He became the first player in NFL history to reach the 2,000-yard running mark the following year, setting a record with 2,003 yards and 12 touchdowns. This was a highly notable feat considering that it happened throughout a 14-game season, unlike the current 16-game format. Notably, in the 1973 season finale against the New York Jets, Simpson shattered both Jim Brown's single-season running records of 1,863 yards and 2,000 yards gained. He received both the Burt Bell title and the much sought-after NFL MVP honor that season for his exceptional play. Even if other players have reached the 2,000-yard plateau in later seasons, Simpson's accomplishment is still noteworthy because of the shorter season structure in which it took place. The record for running yards in a season with 14 games is still held by him. O.J. Simpson cemented his supremacy on the field between 1974 and 1976 when he routinely over 1,000 running yards every season. Even though he overcame a knee injury, Simpson broke 1,000 yards of running in 1974 and was the league's active leading rusher until retirement. He also played in the Bills' only postseason game, contributing to a touchdown but falling short. With 1,817 yards and 16 touchdowns in 1975, he not only made career highs in receiving yards and touchdowns, but he also won the running title again. 1976. Simpson topped the conference in rushing for the third consecutive year, finishing with 1,503 yards and 8 touchdowns. Despite his incredible effort, which featured a career-high 273 rushing yards versus the Lions, the Bills were defeated. A heated incident that season marred a game against the Patriots. O.J. Simpson and Mel Lunsford, a Patriots player, exchanged punches after a tackle, which led to a brawl between the two teams. The Patriots won the game after both were turned down. Due to injuries, Simpson's 1977 season was cut short. A career in acting. O.J. Simpson pursued acting as a hobby while attending USC and even after turning pro in football. Among his early TV series performances were uncredited ones. Later, he ventured into motion pictures with roles in The Towering Inferno and The Klansman. After being apprehensive about pursuing a serious acting career, Simpson finally sought recognition by vying for an Emmy or Oscar. He purposefully avoided cliched parts and developed his craft with more seasoned performers. His career was also defined by humorous cameos in commercials like Back to the Beach. In addition to landing a regular role in the Naked Gun series, he was also in talks to play a significant part in The Terminator. In addition to her acting career, Simpson also dabbled in sports commentary and hosted a Saturday Night Live show. Before his legal issues, O.J. Simpson was featured in a Tower action series pilot called Frogman, which was akin to the A-Team. 1994 saw the end of production, just before his widely reported arrest. The show, originally planned for NBC, was shelved while its viability was assessed. However, because of Simpson's legal issues, the project was never completed. Authorities found the Frogman pilot footage, script, and dailies during a search of his home. The claims that Simpson, who plays the commander of former Navy SEALs, underwent knife training for the part were investigated by prosecutors. It's interesting to note that he harmed a woman with a knife in one incident. This information was discovered, but it wasn't used as evidence at his trial. One pilot, Frogman, was never shown. The NBC executive Warren Littlefield predicted in 1994 that if O.J. Simpson was found guilty of his criminal charges, the Frogman pilot, which starred him, would never get made. But TV journalists talked about an instant broadcast if found not guilty. The majority of 2-hour pilots, regardless of whether a series is greenlit, become TV movies. However, this was not an ordinary case. He taunted and cried, "You've been juiced," to individuals. His rap tune and nude strippers opened each program. He attempted to sell both his signature and his bullet-holed white Bronco. He claimed to be elderly after cheating on a man with his girlfriend. Tell us about your favorite aspect of O.J. Simpson. I appreciate you watching it. If you liked the video, please tell your friends about it. Remember to subscribe, and like this video for more similar material.